Silence can be a weapon, or it can be a confession. Most men think going quiet is a strategy, that a few days of no contact, a cold shoulder, and a little mystery will make her chase again. But that's not how it works. Silence without meaning isn't power. It's noise dressed as control. You see, the world has sold men a weak version of strength. It told us that pulling away equals dominance, that not texting back equals value. But true silence, the kind that makes her stop and think, isn't built on games. It's built on growth. Because when you vanish and nothing in her life changes, you didn't create impact. You confirmed that you were optional. And when she shrugs at your absence, it's not because she's heartless. It's because your silence didn't cost her anything. Real silence, the kind that bends her thoughts back toward you, comes from one thing: evolution. It's what happens when you stop using distance to punish her and start using it to build yourself. So if you're thinking about disappearing, do it for the right reason. Not to make her miss you, but to make yourself unrecognizable when she finally looks back. And if that idea already hits you deep, leave a 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, well, leave a like anyway. Because even disagreement means you're still listening. Act out the illusion when silence is just noise. Most men think silence is strategy. They think if they pull away long enough, she'll start to panic, overthink, and come running back. But here's the harsh truth. Silence without depth is just emptiness. It's not power. It's proof that you have nothing else to say. You can't fake detachment. You can't pretend confidence. You can't weaponize distance when there's nothing inside you worth missing. That's why most no contact plans fail. They're built on ego, not evolution. Men vanish hoping she'll notice. But when she checks and sees nothing's changed, her world keeps spinning. Your absence becomes background noise. You have to understand this. Silence is only powerful when it costs her something. When your presence had gravity. When your life carried motion, momentum, purpose. Otherwise, you're just a ghost haunting your own mistake. So before you go quiet, ask yourself, what will she lose when I'm gone? And if the answer is, not much, then silence isn't the weapon you think it is. Silence without substance is avoidance. And avoidance isn't strength, it's fear. Real power comes when you're no longer running away from her, but running toward a better version of yourself. Because silence used to test her doesn't change her, but silence used to build you. That changes everything. The moment you stop using quiet as revenge and start using it as transformation, you stop being predictable. You stop being replaceable. And that's when silence starts to mean something. Act 2, the transformation. Building a life that speaks louder than words. Silence only works when it's full of consequence. So build a life that costs her something to lose. Start with visible progress. Don't just sit there scrolling, waiting for her to reach out. Get up, go to the gym, fix your posture, learn a new skill, start the project you've been putting off. Every improvement becomes a signal. When she checks your page, she shouldn't see sadness. She should see evolution. A changed man creates curiosity. A still man creates pity. Your silence should look like forward motion. Your life should move like a story she's no longer part of. When your absence looks like an upgrade, her ego starts to crack. Next, optimize your time. Structure your days with purpose. Work, train, read, build, connect. Don't leave empty space for obsession. A man whose calendar is full doesn't have room for overthinking. You want to become unpredictable in the most attractive way. Not because you play games, but because your time has value again. Then, refine your presentation. Upgrade small details, your clothes, your haircut, your energy. Don't change to impress her. Change to represent your discipline. When you look like a man who respects himself, you become the mirror she avoids. And now, cut the noise. Stop reacting to her online. No likes, no DMs, no subtle reminders you still exist. Every reaction is a confession. Every comment says, I'm still waiting. Don't feed her validation, starve her ego. If she posts something that looks like bait, ignore it. If she watches your story, ignore that too. Remember, you're not ignoring her out of anger. You're teaching yourself detachment, and detachment is not indifference. It's control. It's when you stop needing outcomes and start choosing peace. Now comes the internal ritual. The part no one sees, and where your power is truly born. Wake up early. Journal your thoughts. Write down your goals. Train your body until it hurts. Not to prove a point to her, but to prove one to yourself. Every time you want to reach out, write instead. Turn emotion into direction. Turn pain into progress. That's the difference between men who collapse and men who rise. And then, plant what I call echo points. Moments she'll remember without you saying a word. A cologne she associates with your skin. A book you once mentioned. A phrase you always said. Those small things will replay in her mind long after you've gone silent. Because silence isn't just what she doesn't hear. It's what she keeps remembering. And finally, accept the possibility that she never comes back. That's the secret nobody tells you. When your silence no longer depends on her reaction, that's when it becomes unbreakable. Performance waits for applause. Power doesn't need it. Go quiet for you, not for her. Because when you disappear into growth, your silence isn't empty, it's full of consequence. She'll start to feel that. At first, she'll feel relief, then curiosity, then confusion, then craving. At first she thinks she won. Then she starts to wonder why it doesn't feel like victory. Because every time she looks at your progress, it's a reminder that she lost access. Not to attention, but to energy. That's when she realizes something's off. The silence she thought was weakness is actually power. The distance she thought was surrender is discipline. And the man she thought she could replace has quietly become someone she can't stop thinking about. That's the paradox. You crush her ego by never aiming at her. You aim at yourself. Act a third, the mastery. When silence becomes who you are, this is where the transformation becomes real. Silence stops being a strategy and starts being your standard. You wake up with clarity. You move with purpose. You no longer chase peace. You create it. Every rep in the gym, every hour of focus, every small promise you keep to yourself builds a man she no longer recognizes but quietly respects. This is not revenge. It's rebirth. You've stopped playing her game and started playing life at a higher level. And as you rise, something strange happens. She starts to feel what you once felt. The emptiness, the uncertainty, the pull. She'll check your profile, see your progress, and the silence will echo louder than any argument ever could. That's the sound of regret. It doesn't shout. It lingers. It visits her late at night, when she scrolls through old pictures and realizes the man she left behind no longer exists. He's evolved. He's calm. He's untouchable. And here's the final truth when she comes back. And she will. You won't need her to. Because no contact was never about punishing her. It was about rediscovering you. You don't win by getting her back. You win by outgrowing the version of yourself that needed her validation in the first place. You become the man she always wanted, but can no longer have. And that's the quietest victory there is. You no longer explain your worth. You embody it. You no longer chase attention. You command it. You no longer fear silence. You own it. Because true power doesn't speak. It radiates. When your energy moves with certainty, your absence speaks for you. You stop being the man who waits for her message and become the man whose life she watches from a distance, wondering how she ever lost him. That's when she understands your silence was never anger. It was closure. It was strength without noise. It was proof that you finally learned the greatest lesson of all. That peace isn't found in what you get back, but in what you let go. And when you reach that point, you don't measure victory by her reaction. You measure it by your calm, by how little her chaos moves you, by how grounded you feel when everything else tries to shake you. That's the mark of a man reborn. You've mastered the art of detachment not by running away, but by standing still in your purpose. Silence is no longer the gap between messages. It's the soundtrack of your discipline. It's the rhythm of your focus. It's the voice of your rebirth. And when she finally feels that, when your stillness feels louder than her noise, she'll understand something that will echo for years. You were never the one who lost control. You were the one who chose not to play. So, brother, don't use silence to punish. Use it to purify. Use it to rebuild. Use it to remember who you are when the world tries to make you forget. Because when you master silence, you master yourself. And that's when everything else begins to align. If this message hit you, if it made you stop, think and reflect, drop a 1 in the comments. If you didn't like it, drop a like anyway. Because even disagreement means you're still awake. Now breathe, walk away from the noise, and build. Silence isn't just the end of a conversation. It's the beginning of transformation. Every man eventually learns. You don't find peace by chasing closure. You find it by becoming the kind of man who doesn't need it anymore. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop trying to prove your worth, that's when your energy changes. You move differently. You speak less, but everything you say carries weight. You stop being the echo in someone else's world and start being the sound in your own. And that's the truth no one teaches you. That silence, real silence, isn't cold. It's calm. It's not punishment. It's peace. So if you're in that quiet right now, don't fill it with noise. Build in it. Use it. Because one day, you'll look back and realize the silence that once felt heavy was actually the space where you rebuilt yourself. And when that happens, you'll never fear distance again. Because distance made you disciplined. If this message reached you today, if it reminded you of your own strength, drop a 1 in the comments. If it didn't, drop a like anyway. Because even disagreement means you're still listening. Stay calm, stay sharp, and remember, your silence speaks louder than any apology ever could.